What up, YouTube? Welcome to my channel. I'm Magas of the Soul 95. Pretty much just wanted to do a quick little introductory video to my, welcome you to my channel. Thank you for taking your time out of the day to listen to me ramble on about whatever. Okay, so where I'm from, I'll start off with that. So I'm from Lawrenceville, Georgia, which is a part of the Metro Atlanta area. It's kind of confusing if you're not from Atlanta because most people who are from Atlanta, they're usually from the city. If they say they're from Atlanta, they're probably from the city. But a lot of people outside of the city will still say they're from Atlanta if they're talking to someone they're not, who's not familiar with it, just because it gets kind of confusing. But I'm from the suburb outside of the city, so I just say I'm from Lawrenceville to, get rid of the confusion. And honestly, I was born and raised here. I did do quite a little bit of bouncing around when I was younger, as far as like different parts of, the Metro Atlanta area. But I never lived in the city, so I never had that experience. So I really wouldn't say I'm from, Atlanta, because I haven't really experienced it unless I was going to get food or something. So definitely Lawrenceville was most of my childhood experience, so childhood all the way up to high school. So my astrological signs, so I'm a Capricorn sun, Pisces moon, and a Virgo rising. So I'm pretty much a control freak with an imagination. So I think for the most part though, the my sun sign definitely is very prominent, like most people. A lot of moral values and the way I do certain things, as far as how I like certain things, is definitely very Capricorn like. But also I do think of my Pisces moon plays a major like role as far as like my physical appearance. Like a lot of people look at me and they'll go, oh, I wouldn't think that you were a Capricorn, or I would think that you're like a Pisces or a Scorpio or something, because of my outward, what I show people, which is exactly what the moon sign is anyway. So it's really cool to see how people like view you when they do know about astrology, and I'm like, oh, you give me more Pisces vibes, and I'm just like, yeah, it's my moon sign, so you're definitely getting a lot. That's why I feel like all three of them play a big part of who you are. Like I'm not a big fan of focusing on just one, because honestly, I could focus on the Pisces if I wanted to, because that's the one that people will probably focus on more anyway who know me. But I'm not like outwardly sensitive. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm inwardly sensitive. Like I notice everything and I like pick up on everything, but I'm not going to cry. I don't want to make Pisces sound like crybabies, but yeah, that's not my reaction. That's not my personal reaction to things. And a lot of people have like this idea that Pisces are sensitive, which means they cry all the time. So that's not my thing. Like I'm a very sensitive person. I notice everything and I pay attention to everything, but I'm not going to cry about it. Like I'll generally come off aloof even when I'm hurt. So I feel like that's like the Capricorn and the Pisces just coming together all at once, because I do, definitely I get hurt a lot, and I care about a lot, but my outward, facial expressions is like, that, and I am literally the shrug emoji. Like I am the epitome of the shrug emoji. I'm just like, and half the time I'm wearing blue anyway, so it's just like, I'm the shrug emoji. So I try not to be like that, like internally, but outwardly I just can't help it. Like even if I saw something that I didn't like, and I'm just like, because what can I do about it? I think it's so funny too, because I actually have a Pisces symbol on my wrist. I think this was my first tattoo, and people used to ask me all the time, are you a Pisces? Are you a Pisces? And this is before I really like knew about astrology, and the only thing I knew was my sun sign. So I was just like, oh no, I got the actual tattoo because of a best friend of mine who had passed away. So she was really deep into astrology. So I got the tattoo in memory of her, but I didn't know I was a Pisces moon. And it's so funny because I think she actually told me that, but it didn't register. So people are like, oh, you got the tattoo, the Pisces tattoo because you're a Pisces. And I'm like, actually, no, but actually, yeah, I'm a Pisces moon. So it's real weird, real strange. Alrighty, so like my career goals, which to me doesn't really, seem like a, a career that you should talk about. Like people can be like, oh yeah, that's a, that's an actual career. But really, honestly, my career goals is just to help people figure stuff out. Like, and I know that can go so many different ways, right? And honestly, I'm the type of person where I don't like to place myself anywhere specifically because I feel like it holds me back in a lot of ways. So if I was to say, oh yeah, I only want to be a therapist, like my goal is to be a therapist, or my goal is to be a social worker, then I feel like I limit myself in all the things that I could do. And especially when it comes to helping people, I don't want to limit myself in any kind of way. But, as of now, I'm a life coach to be. So, that's a step, I guess, to say that I am trying to help people in some way, shape, or form. I am really big on helping people, become centered and to really help themselves, get to where they're trying to go. Because at the end of the day, I could say whatever I want to say, and I can give you all the steps and throw it out and say, hey, this does this, doing this will get you here. And you don't really, if you're not really ready for that, or if you're not, in a place where you can execute these things mentally, then it's not going to do anything for you. So really my goal is to help people help. A wee lad, I just always been that guy. I've always been the type to just be like, hey, what's going on? What can I do? You can do this. That'll help. I don't know. I've always been that. I've always just been that type. So I don't know. It's just kind of like a thing that I've been kind of doing in my own way without realizing that, hey, I could actually do this for real, for real. My whole life, anytime anyone's ever needed me for anything, or anyone's ever needed any assistance with anything, whether it's something as simple as, hey, I just need somebody to come with me to take this test, just to sit in the car and you talk to me on the way there, and we just have good conversation, and you sit in the car while I take it, and I'll come back and thank you for it. Because some people just need support, and it's not like people need support because they don't have support. Some people need the right kind of support, because me being as I guess, what do you call it? I guess independent as possible. Like me always trying to do my own thing, and me always trying to make sure that I'm okay and you don't need to do anything. I've always been that person. So for certain situations, like when I say the right kind of support, for certain situations require a certain level of interest, number one, and number two, energy. Some things require a certain amount of energy, and some things require, less amount of energy as far as motivating folks. Not everybody's motivated the same way, and everybody has their own way of motivating others. So some people are screamers, some people are aggressive, some people are bubbly, and some people are, just quiet and clap, But I can be all those things. I'm very versatile with my emotions. I got a lot of them, and they're very intense. So, yeah, I think, me having all these different sides of myself, and also this urge to be there for people in whatever way that I possibly can, is what really makes me like the number one, person cheering everybody in the back. So, everybody just needs a certain type of support, just because, you feel like, hey, I'm in this person's life, and we're super close, and I want them to succeed, but they never reach out to me or ask me to just be there, or just to even, let me in on what's going on, because I want to cheer them on. Maybe, just maybe, they're just not comfortable with the way you cheer them on. Maybe they need more. Maybe yours is too much. Who knows? So that's my goal. My goal is really just to, be that guiding, hand, and say, all right, you're ready. You can do this. And you're going to. You're going to, because you're ready. We talked about it enough. You're ready. So that's me. That's my goal. My goal is to do that. So, ultimately, though, in all seriousness, though, I, have several different things that I want to do. I mean, I'm only 25 years old, so I have so many things that I can do. There's so many things that I want to do, and I don't know how long I'm going to be here. So I rather, take it a step at a time and say, all right, well, cool. This is what I feel comfortable doing right now, because the control freak in me has a tendency to plan things 10 years ahead and say, all right, here's my 5-year plan. So I'm going to work towards that. And then, here's the 10-year plan, hopefully that 5-year plan, aligns with that 10-year plan. But I can't tell the universe what my, destiny is. I make a 5-year plan, and then when I get there, all of that whole, like, where I'm at is completely different to where I thought I was going to be. So now I have to change it again and do a whole nother 5-year plan, and then the 10-year plan after that. So it's just too much. Sometimes you just got to let things flow. And it took a lot of trial and error and a lot of experiences to get there. But all right, so the purpose of this channel, is not to listen to me ramble on all the time, which it kind of is. But the purpose of this channel really is just I want to build a spiritual community. I, am really big on, community and people coming together and, acceptance and all of that other good stuff. So, and especially spirituality. Spirituality is literally my life. It's been my entire life. As long as I've been alive, as long as I can remember, something has happened to me that led me into a spiritual path, whether I knew it or not, So it's kind of like great to me to be able to talk to the, the people that I have in my life, whether it's my family or my friends or which my friends are my family, but my friends or my brother, I can talk to him about really, interesting topics and a lot of thought-provoking conversations and not feel like a complete weirdo, which I'm kind of fine with at this point. But yeah, it's good to have that. It's good to have that community. It's good to have that that sense of camaraderie and that sense of, I'm not the only one, regardless of what you look like, regardless of what your background is or your denomination, all of that. It doesn't matter, because there's going to be someone who can identify with what you got going on in some way, shape, or form. So you really don't even have to give it a name. I'm not one of those people that that really care about what people's religious backgrounds or religious, beliefs are, because honestly, and I know this sounds so crazy, but I believe in everything. And I know that sounds like a cop-out or a passive-aggressive way to not argue with people, but it's really not. Like, I really do believe in a lot of different things. Like, you can name something that you would think is completely, like, off track of what my belief system is, and I probably do believe that, or I probably believe that that is somewhat true in a different way. Because at the end of the day, to me, perception is life. Like, that is the human existence. Perception is the entirety of human existence. So if you are a human being who has a belief about anything, there is another human being who has a completely different view of what you believe in. So it's kind of like, to me, I find it ignorant for myself to say, yeah, that cannot be possible, or that cannot be, the furthest from the truth. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in that. So to make it easier on myself and to make it easier on the people that I communicate with, I just like to keep my mind open. It just makes life so much easier if you just keep an open mind and to not categorize every single thing to, because it kind of limits you with conversations to have with people when your view almost seems like a law. It's wrong to me. That's how you live life. Whatever. But to me, it just feels wrong to put a name on something and to put you in a category, because it really just divides people. I know people who look like me, who we have certain things in common, and then we have a lot of other things that we don't have in common. I know a lot of people who don't look like me, who I have some things in common with and some other things I don't have in common with. It's really not about, your beliefs. It's really just about you being open-minded and keeping a wide open range of what your perception really could be. And with spirituality, there's just so many different, you know, categories of it. Like that's the part that makes it all so confusing, right? Is that there's just so many different ways to be spiritual, and there's so many different ways to you know, give to whatever power that that you believe in. And when it really boils down to it, it really doesn't even have to be, like that. That doesn't even have to really be the definition of it, which I'll get to in a sec. But as far as division and everything goes, I feel like there's a lot of divide, first of all, in the world in general. But when it comes to even the spiritual community, there's like so many different people. Like me personally, I don't care if you practice hoodoo and voodoo, or ancestral magic, or if you're into the African spirituality. I don't care if you're that or a Christian or whatever else. I don't care about any of that, because at the end of the day, we all have something in common. We all believe in something. We are all giving ourselves to something. We are all, allowing another force to have some kind of control, or to have some kind of impact on our lives. And what is spirituality to me? I feel like this is such a, my answer is a basic answer, but I feel like it always, like, the follow-up always gets me in trouble. But to me, spirituality is really any practice that you do for yourself or for others that brings you some kind of peace. So if, a lot of things that we do is spirituality, like, is a spiritual practice. We just don't realize it. But, if you are a type of person that, takes a shot every day for your grandfather, and, you hold one out for him, and hold one out for you, and you take the shots, and or you do it on his birthday. To me, that's a spiritual practice, because you're giving yourself to a force and saying, hey, you're giving your intent. That is the word. So when it comes to the intention, that really is what makes it spiritual and not, because at the end of the day, the universe listens regardless of whether or not you believe in it. So when you're speaking, when you're thinking, when you're feeling things, depending on the emotional intensity and the intent, you really make outcomes. You make outcomes all the time. You're talking to the universe and don't even realize it. Like, hey, the universe is listening, whether or not the universe is nosy. Let's just put it like that. The universe is super nosy. So if you're talking about something, or, if you're thinking about something, if you're constantly thinking about a specific thing, the universe is like, ears perked up, like, what's going on? What do I need to do? What's going on? What do I need to change? What kind of outcome do I need to place into your life to get you to let this go or do something about it? So, really, I hate to say it like this, but this is the part that gets me in trouble. But I feel like everybody believes in God, whether they realize it or not, because at the end of the day, I know, and that's no disrespect to anyone who considers themselves atheists. It's no disrespect to anyone who's, trying to figure that out. It's no disrespect to you. I'm not trying to tell you what you believe in. However, I don't see how anyone cannot believe in something as far as a universal force. I mean, if you believe in science, you believe in a universal force. I mean, come on now. Like, the world itself does things whether we're here or not. Whether we even pay attention to whether or not it's happening, things will happen. How they say, like, when a tree falls in the forest, if you didn't hear it, did it fall? Yes, it still fell. The earth is still doing its thing. The whole universe is doing its own thing. Planets are doing things without us, whether we're here or not. They don't care whether there's one human on Earth, or 7 billion of them. The universe doesn't care. It's going to do what it wants to do, regardless of whether or not we're here or not. You can't tell me it doesn't have a life of its own. A scientist could tell you that. So if you believe in science, you even believe in God. You just don't call it God. I think a lot of people believe in God and just don't call it God, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it is wrong to make people who are spiritual, feel like they're doing, like they're, giving themselves over to a nothingness when you go outside and you admire, the falling of the leaves and fall. Like, it's kind of ignorant. But anyway, yeah, I don't, I personally, I do believe in one universal force, and I'll just keep it at that. Not going any further than that. I do believe in, one universal force. I do give all of my heart and my soul and my faith to that one universal force, that ultimate universal force. I won't say one because I don't want to come off like a monotheistic person, but because like I said, I do believe in the existence of other, of other people's, deities. I might not follow them or worship them, but I do believe they exist because other people believe they exist, which brings me back to intent. The human mind alone is a very powerful thing, whether, you see it in the society or not. The human brain is a very powerful thing. And once a human believes something, it kind of becomes real. It's a manifestation. That's how manifestations come about. That's how, a lot of things on earth are kind of taking place through manifestation. So as you can see with, how things go in these streets, that once someone believes something, it's kind of hard to change that. So you put enough intent and you put enough of your emotional energy, you put enough of your soul. If you put enough of your soul into a specific, thought or belief system, it becomes real. So if you gather, that's just with one human mind. So if you gather a bunch of human minds and make them all focus on the same thing, that thing manifests. It becomes a larger form. It becomes really powerful. It becomes something that can exist, forever. What is that if that doesn't, how does that not fall into the same definition of what God is? So yeah, the purpose of this channel really is just to, bring people together. And me personally, I love to talk about spirituality. Like, I can go about it all day. I can talk about it all night until your eyes start to glaze over. I'll talk about it. So to avoid people's eyes glazing over while I talk to them about spirituality, I just really just want to talk about it on here and, give you my own, perspective on certain spiritual topics and a lot of like things that we notice in the world. Like if you're telling me that, talk about certain transits and saying, hey, like whatever is in Gemini today, and how do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel like it is playing a part into your own personal life? And, yeah, tell me your stories. I want to know, about you guys' perception of what's going on in the world from a spiritual standpoint. I view the world with spiritual eyes, always have, always will. It's just instilled into my very spirit. So, I definitely want to share that though. Like, I have a lot of experiences and, a lot of changes, like a lot of things that I viewed the world, as far as from a spiritual standpoint, they kind of grew. They didn't change really. They kind of just grew. And I started to learn more and I dig deep. It's like my blessing and my curse. I'm always trying to dig deep. And sometimes I dig myself into the rabbit hole and just spiral from there. But, yeah, like I have a lot of different experiences and I experiment a lot with spirituality. I experiment quite a bit. So I definitely like to know like a lot of the things that you guys have experienced and the things that you guys experiment with, no judgment whatsoever. I don't even want that in my comment section. I just don't. And I know it's going to happen because it's YouTube. But yeah, just talk about whatever you want to talk about. And, feel free to ask me, like I said, about certain things that you notice or certain things that you just want to know about my past, as far as the things I experienced in my spiritual life and my spiritual journey. If you want to, discuss a certain topic, like I said, just let me know. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it all. I want to know what you guys think. And I know I like talk a lot. So, this will be a good way to get it all out. Alrighty, so please like and share. I'll try to crank out as much videos as I possibly can. Once I get the ball rolling, I'm gonna be, cranking out a lot of videos. So just keep sending me suggestions. I, already appreciate the support I get from my loved ones, from even, pushing me to do this. They've been asking me to do this for a really long time. A lot of people that I've known for years have been like, why don't you have a YouTube channel already with everything that you talk about, and I talk a lot. And I also do a lot of audio journals, and I journal a lot. So when I share what I journal, half the time people are just like, this could have been a video. Like, what are you doing? So here it is. The videos are finally here. They're going to be cranking out. So just keep sending me suggestions, giving me things to talk about, and I'll talk about them. And try to be as respectful as possible, because I am a Capricorn and I'm super blunt sometimes, and I think a lot about what I say, if you can tell in my eyes and like shifting movements and everything, because I pay attention to stuff like that. But you can see it a lot. I think about what I say a lot, because I have a tendency to just let things just fly out, and sometimes they don't come out right, and then I'm looking over and I'm seeing side eyes. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't even know like where to go back, because I said a bunch of stuff. So yeah, I definitely have a tendency to like let things roll out. But just send me some things and I'll talk about it, and then that'll be it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Again, like and share. See you guys later. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know my lighting is super awful right now, which is great because it's the first one. But I use a lot of natural light, and it's super muggy in Georgia right now. Like, it looks disgusting outside. So I'm even surprised that I can even see myself in this camera right now. But yeah, like, share, tell your friends, tell your grandmama. She might not like it, but tell her anyway. And come back. Hope to see you guys next time. Alrighty, peace and love, everyone.